Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt with Illinois WorkNet. On the call with me today, I have Natasha. So it looks like we're in here twice, but I'm using her host for the Zoom. We also have Kristen Marshall on the call, and it looks like that's it for right now. So if you have any questions for DHS that I am unable to answer, please, when we get to that point, I will say open up your mics, or else you are always welcome to type into the chat pod. So we've got Boys and Girls Club of Chicago on the call. I'm going to do a real quick check here. I've already got Asian Human Services, APAC, Boys and Girls Club of Chicago, JCFS, Project Oz, APCC, JCFS again, Phalanx. All right, so we'll mark down the DHS one. I'll come back to this right at the end, just so that if anybody else comes on the call, we can get that from there. I'm going to minimize that. Last week we talked about updates to the progress page. We have updates to the application, so they kind of go hand in hand. What we're going to do right now is go through a customer whose eligibility has not been verified from the dashboard in test. So on the overview, we were able to see this last week pretty easily. Everything seemed to be working. So here you'll see green dots and red dots determining whether or not you need to make an update to that particular section. Right here under the Integrated Resource Team Contacts is where the new contact information is. And what you can do now is add any contacts that are part of that customer's team. We'll add a couple of names here. Then if you need to see who's actually on the team, you can click on this word view here to see the results of the people on the call. Sorry about that, I forgot to unplug my phones. And then you can close that. So if you need to remove or add somebody, you can do it from that spot. Otherwise, all of these pieces down here tell you whether or not you need to set goals or take action on the activities that are part of your performance or part of the case closure. On the application, as always, you are able to edit a customer's information by clicking on the Edit This section. So if during the point in time that you are having a conversation with that customer, then you can make changes by just clicking on Edit This section. On the progress page, one of the things that happens is as you're making updates in there, it will also make a couple of the updates on the system. We've changed the appearance of the progress page. We no longer have the contact person information here. It opens up to the enrollment status automatically. And then up until the point in time where you select enrolled and eligibility verified, you can make changes to the customer's initial program eligibility. After they have been verified and enrolled, then you can no longer make those changes. One of the changes that we did was we have the NA verified or unable to verify for the pieces. Each of these items has to have a verification of some sort or another. That doesn't mean that the answers have to be yes or no. It just means that you have to verify what they did answer. You are required to match the Social Security number. Oh, and I just entered it in the wrong format. And then as you're going down through the system, it will keep that Social Security number. Every time you try to make changes, you will be required to re-enter the Social Security number. We need to mute somebody who just took that phone call. So if you can mute yourself and you're on the phone, that would be great. Under this piece, if you find out during your conversation with your customer that maybe the customer's pregnant, then you can click because they had not answered it previously, you can click this added after application and verified. Now this is actually a male, so I'm not going to click this particular piece. But one of the things that also shows up on here, let me go on down, is we also have the same NA verified and unable to verify. A new addition to this is to add a note about that particular challenge or barrier. We don't try not to say barriers anymore. That particular challenge that that customer has demonstrated in their application. So if you click on this add a note, it will say at the age of 16. And then if you save it, it changes from add a note to update note. This is the only place that these pieces will show. They do not show in the case notes section. So if you're coming back and you're trying to find something about this, it will be here and nowhere else. Then if you need to update the note, so right here I was unable to verify that the customer lives in a high poverty area. Update the note. Student was not clear on where they stay. They ran away from home and are moving from friend to friend and sometimes a homeless shelter. So you can always update the information as you gain more up until the time that you verify and enroll the customer into the program. Once you have that done, you can hit save. Then as the information filters, you can mark the student as enrolled and then move them to eligibility, verified, and enrolled. The other option is the youth declined to participate. This is not a new option. And provider not willing to enroll. That is not a new option either. So I'm going to update this person, the student, to eligibility, verified, and enrolled. I'm going to save this. So here it tells me that enrollment cannot be changed once the customer has been enrolled. If you click on the enrollment history, it shows you that they were on the waiting list, and then now the date will show. If you check the history, you might have to refresh to get the enrollment date to show up. Under the performance deliverables, there's been no changes here to date. So just as you are completing those pieces, they will change from a red minus to a green check. Case closure has not changed. The reasons are still the same. Until the point in time that you close out the case, it will say unknown here. It will give you an anticipated eligibility end date here. One thing that we did do is we moved uploads to the top row. So now if there's any payroll verification, any placement where they actually live in a high poverty area, all of those pieces, documentation that you need to match that verification process can all be uploaded in the upload section. You just upload a file by browsing your computer and looking for a file. I highly recommend that you, let me just find a file here. I highly recommend that you enter a description of the document, and that way, if it's not the right one that you need to look at, then you don't have to open it. depending on the file name, it might be payroll verification. So if you save your file names so that anybody in your system or partners can understand it, it makes it a little bit easier. And then also if you add a description, it makes things very easy as well. Those are the major changes right now to the update for 2020, for PY 2020. Does anybody have any questions about what I just demonstrated? This went much more smoothly than it did last week. Okay, before we end the recording, I'm going to go back to the attendance. I see that I have Universal Family Connection on the call. I see a 773-468 phone number. I'm not quite sure if that is somebody that dialed in as well as is on the call. Okay, and I see CAPS is on the call. All right, if you have that 773-468-1986 phone number, please let me know if you are with an agency that is not, that I cannot see on the call. Otherwise,
Hi, Dee. It's Johnson from CAPS. So yes,
okay,
I am on the call. I'm the 773-468 number.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
No problem.
I am going to end the recording, but now I'm going to go over numbers. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause.